laughter. I turn the mic over to you.
Thanks a lot. Okay, so on behalf of the School of Cinematic Arts, Brian Tillman, I'm here with Jack Epps and Dave Isaac from Comedy at SEA to welcome you to a very live and I hope very lively workshop on directing comedy. The workshop's the brainchild of James L. Brooks, whose participation and generosity are making tonight possible. The event grew out of a conversation that Jim had with Dean Bailey, whose support and encouragement, and this has enabled us to bring everybody together tonight. Jim Brooks. I don't know if you know. If you don't know who Jim Brooks is, you have no business. He changed the face of TV comedy forever, co-creating the Mary Tyler Moore Show and Taxi. Everything you've ever seen and loved on TV has been influenced by those series and the talented people who learned their crafts on them under Jim's mentorship. His feature film debut was as a screenwriter of the marvelous romantic comedy Starting Over. He went on to write and direct many more films, including the multi-Oscar award-winning films Terms of Endearment, Broadcast News, and As Good as It Gets. As a producer, he created The Simpsons, breaking the world of animation wide open to comedy, and comedy wide open to the world of animation. Also, as a producer, he mentored important writers and directors such as Cameron Crowe, Penny Marshall, Danny DeVito, Wes Anderson, and Owen Wilson. Trust me, I'm just getting the surface. Here at SEA, he kicked off our own Okie Comedy Lecture Series. We're very grateful for it. Before I turn this over to Jim to introduce the concept, let me tell you about the man who's going to guide the work this evening. Larry Moss is an actor, director, teacher, and since Helen Hunt thanked him during her Oscar acceptance speech, the most highly sought-after acting coach in Hollywood. He coached award-winning performances by Hilary Swank, Michael Clark Duncan, Jim Carrey, Tobey Maguire, and about a dozen by Leonardo DiCaprio. He studied acting with legendary teachers Stella Adler, Sanford Meisner, and Warren Robertson. He's the author of the excellent book on acting, Intent to Live, which I recommend highly. Little known fact, he made his New York acting debut in a comic review at Upstairs and Downstairs. He travels the world conducting acting workshops and is the founder of Larry Moss Acting Studio here in LA. We are extremely fortunate to have with us not only Larry, but some marvelous actors who have studied with him over the years and who have generously taken the time to work with SEA directors on tonight's scenes. Let me introduce Lena Georges.
Close enough.
Doing it the kosher way. Okay. Chad Faust.
Hello.
Aaron McPherson. Alexis Morel. Each director and acting pair has rehearsed the scene which will be performed for us tonight. Larry Moss will then lead a master rehearsal with the directors and the actors. What's going to happen next? Okay, this is intended to be a free-form work session aimed at taking the work to the next level. Jim and I may offer suggestions or raise questions for the participants to address. Have you ever seen Project Runway? I hope there will be time and room for some questions and observations from the audience. Who knows what will happen, but we hope that the outcome will be fun and informative. Before I turn over the floor to Jim, I just want to thank our student volunteers, A.J. Friedman, Allison Bagelman, and especially Mike Starr for all the effort. Christy Patton and everyone in the Dean's office for all their help. Claudia Gonzalez, Doug Wellman, Steve Coppell, Gary Campbell, and everyone I've forgotten for their hard work. Everybody worked very hard to make this all possible. And now, James L. Brooks.
Yeah.
Should I get up, or you'll see me? Yeah. Okay, thanks. Don't ever say something idly to the dean that you're not willing to act on. This is a genuinely experimental evening, but it's an experiment in something that I worry about and grouse a lot about, and think that I was actively worrying whether film schools think about it at all. And that's that if you're doing a film, if you're directing a film, and you have 5 cinematographers, whichever one you pick will alter your film, will change your film. I guess it's true of your editor. A lot of other people, maybe too. The actors make it a different film. 5 different actors, 5 different films. There's no question about it. And I just don't know whether people deal with that on the level where it's true, how humble it is, and how to talk to actors and how to create the right relationship between an actor and a director. When maybe there isn't a right relationship. I mean, there's nothing anybody can say that will do it for you. I had this one thing I have this example in mind, but the example I think is something that happens in some way to everybody who directs. And let's say that the phone rings and you have Daniel Day-Lewis for your picture. And it's great. You have the greatest actor alive. You have Daniel Day-Lewis. He's going to go away and he's going to live in a house and he's going to only speak in a voice. Think about that voice. You're not going to see him and he's going to show up and God has shared his space and now he is there to work for you. And the first day there, the most important joke, and you keep screwing it up. And what do you do? And I was talking about this to Barnett because that really happens. That's the longest walk you'll ever take in your life. Somebody who's on that level, how to approach him, how to get it so that where it's the joke you heard in your head, or at least start the search for a better joke than the one you had in your head. And meanwhile, not say you're bombing to Daniel Day-Lewis. and Barnett, and these guys are tremendously sophisticated. I just got to say parenthetically, we just all got together in the office for me to understand what was going to happen tonight, and it was like the best time I've had in so long listening to these 2 guys talk with their passion. I mean, if you can have anything like my experience the other day, just sitting there eating it up, I'll be so happy that tonight happened. Barnett said, when I said this, he said he'd walk over and instead of saying anything to Daniel Day-Lewis, he'd change the furniture around, knowing that Daniel Day-Lewis would respond to it. This is way above my thinking, but it would work. It would work, and in ways that I don't understand because I'm not trained. I'm not trained formally. But my time in television allowed me all these hours in community talking to actors who had been trained and who came from different disciplines, and that was the luckiest thing that ever happened to me. So I think tonight is about understanding actors, I guess, and the communication, because you can put it on too high a pedestal. It's almost anything you think you can make a mistake. Any way you approach it is prone. Too much religious, putting a religious aura around the actor is no good either, because it's work. I mean, basically what everybody's sitting down to do is go to work and find it together, and it gets very tricky. It gets exceptionally tricky on the schedules that people are asked to keep today. Exceptionally tricky. And I think the biggest thing you can do as a director is say that whatever powers you have, where are you going to use it? What atmosphere do you want on your set? Do you want, so you can say, this is about getting this done today. There's nothing more important. And you can make everybody pay attention to that. Or you can say this space is for the actors today. And make everybody adhere to that. And make everybody have good manners about that. And make everybody support that with their vibe. I think that is possible. So it's sort of exploring these notions that I think this is about. And I'll answer any questions later, and maybe I'll chip in when I think of something, but that's basically the deal.